All right, let's do a deep dive into The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King.
Okay, sounds good.
We've got this fantastic analysis of the film, and I'm really excited to get into it. We're going to uncover some behind-the-scenes details about those epic battle scenes.
Ah, yes.
Explore the deeper meaning behind some of those iconic characters like Gollum and Denethor,
Right.
and just really dive into why this film is considered a masterpiece. What do you think?
Well, it's amazing how the film balances these huge battles with these very personal and intimate stories.
Yeah.
It's about the fate of Middle-earth,
Right.
but it's also about these individual struggles of characters like Frodo and Gollum and Aragorn, of course.
Yeah, and the film wastes no time getting right to that.
Right.
It kicks off with that flashback to Smeagol discovering the ring, and, well, it's brutal.
Yeah.
It really sets the tone for the whole film in just a few minutes.
Oh, absolutely. That opening scene with Smeagol transforming into Gollum, it's not just, backstory. It's like foreshadowing Frodo's struggles with that, the ring's corrupting power.
Right.
And it's just a powerful reminder of what's at stake.
Yeah, but the film does an amazing job of, raising those stakes throughout the whole thing,
Yeah.
especially with the Siege of Minas Tirith.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how did they pull off something that epic?
Yeah.
It's visually stunning, but what's really striking to me is how they managed to make it feel so emotionally resonant.
It's a masterful blend of practical effects and CGI.
Right.
And incredible directing. They used thousands of extras. They built these massive sets. And then they incorporated, cutting-edge technology to just create this immersive battle.
Yeah.
But what really elevates it is that they include the civilian population.
Oh, I see.
The women and children, the elderly, huddled in fear.
Right.
And it reminds us this isn't just some abstract conflict. It's a fight for the survival of an entire people.
Yeah, and then during this epic battle, we see Denethor, the steward of Gondor,
Yeah.
just descending into madness.
Right.
And his storyline is one of the most disturbing in the film.
Yes.
What do you think the film is trying to say about leadership in times of crisis through Denethor?
Well, I think Denethor is a tragic figure. He's got this burden of leading Gondor against these impossible odds.
Yeah.
He's consumed by grief over the loss of his son, Boromir.
Right.
And then you've got his relationship with his other son, Faramir, which is, it's incredibly complex,
Yeah.
Denethor's clear favoritism towards Boromir, his harsh treatment of Faramir, really, it pushes Faramir to seek validation he can never seem to get.
It makes you wonder if Denethor would have succumbed to despair if he had, handled his grief and his relationships differently.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
It raises questions about the psychological toll that leadership can take,
Yeah.
especially during wartime. It's interesting because his story really contrasts with characters like Eowyn.
Right. Who, despite facing these incredible obstacles, really embodies courage and defiance.
Eowyn is such a badass.
Yeah.
She completely defies, societal norms.
Right.
And ends up taking down the Witch King, who was supposed to be, invincible. That line, "I am no man," is iconic for a reason.
Yeah.
What do you make of her arc?
It's all about breaking free from expectations and finding your own strength. Her slaying of the Witch King isn't just a cool action sequence.
Right.
It subverts the prophecy and emphasizes this theme of unexpected heroes.
Right.
She proves that heroism can come from the most unlikely places.
Yeah, absolutely.
Her story is definitely one of the most inspiring in the film.
Yeah.
Speaking of inspiring, let's talk about Aragorn for a second.
Okay.
His transformation from this reluctant ranger into the King of Gondor, it's a pretty massive shift.
Right.
Did that feel believable to you? What were some of the key moments that sold you on his transformation?
Well, his journey unfolds throughout the entire trilogy. But in The Return of the King, that's when we see him fully embrace his destiny.
Yeah.
And that scene where he reforges the broken sword, Narsil, into Andúril, it's incredibly symbolic.
Right.
I mean, it represents him accepting his lineage and stepping into his rightful place as king.
Yeah.
And then you see his leadership during the Battle of Pelennor Fields, rallying his forces against all odds.
Right.
That solidifies his claim to the throne.
There's definitely a lot of debate surrounding the Army of the Dead and their role in that battle.
Right.
Some argue that it's a bit too convenient, a plot device known as Deus Ex Machina, where a seemingly unsolvable problem is suddenly resolved by an unexpected and improbable occurrence.
Right. This is a valid criticism.
Yeah.
However, within Tolkien's mythology, the eagles, which also appear in this film,
Right.
as a form of deus ex machina.
Yeah.
And the army of the dead are presented as these ancient forces that operate outside the normal laws of the world, and that they only intervene in these most dire circumstances.
So it's less about Aragorn's personal abilities and more about his ability to call upon these ancient powers.
Exactly. It's about him proving himself worthy of their aid.
I see.
It's a different kind of leadership, one rooted in lineage and destiny.
It makes you think about all the different ways that leadership can manifest itself, right?
Right.
You've got Aragorn calling upon these ancient forces, and you've got Denethor crumbling under pressure, and then you have Eowyn forging her own path, and then there's Samwise Gamgee, who, for me, is the true heart of this story.
Oh, I completely agree. Sam, he embodies those core values:
Yeah?
loyalty, perseverance, and unwavering hope.
Yeah.
He never gives up on Frodo, even when Frodo pushes him away. And let's not forget, he literally carries Frodo up Mount Doom.
Talk about strengths.
Right.
His speech about hope, even in the darkest of times,
Yes.
it's one of the most moving moments in the entire trilogy.
It is.
He's not a warrior, he's not a king, but his unwavering belief in Frodo is ultimately what helps save Middle-earth.
Absolutely. It highlights a different kind of heroism.
Yeah.
You know, one that isn't about physical strength or power,
Right.
but about inner strength, compassion, and unwavering loyalty.
But even with Sam's support, things take a dark turn at Mount Doom.
Oh, yeah.
Frodo, at the very last moment, he just can't bring himself to destroy the ring.
Yeah.
It's a really powerful subversion of the typical hero's journey.
Right. It's a brilliant reminder that even the strongest wills can be corrupted by absolute power.
Yeah.
And it's Gollum, of all creatures, who ends up playing a pivotal role in the ring's destruction.
Right.
His obsession with the ring, which seemed like a weakness, ends up being the key to its downfall.
It's a tragic but fitting end for Gollum.
Yes.
That scene where he dances with the ring before falling into the fires of Mount Doom, it's both chilling and oddly beautiful.
Yeah.
It always sticks with me.
It speaks to that complex duality within him. You know, that constant struggle between his desire for the ring,
Right.
and that little sliver of remaining good.
Yeah.
It also highlights how fate and chance and even the smallest actions can have monumental consequences.
It's a reminder that even in a story as epic as this, sometimes it's the smallest, most unexpected moments that determine the fate of the world.
Right.
And then we get that extended epilogue,
Yes.
which I have to say I absolutely love. It provides such a sense of closure
Totally.
after such an intense journey.
The epilogue is crucial. We see Aragorn crowned king, fulfilling his destiny.
Oh, yeah.
The hobbits return to the Shire, forever changed by their experiences. And then, of course, there's Frodo, grappling with the trauma of his journey.
Yeah.
It ties up loose ends,
Right.
offers a glimpse into how these monumental events have shaped the characters and the world they inhabit.
It's bittersweet,
Yeah.
especially Frodo's departure to the Undying Lands.
Yeah.
It feels right, though, acknowledging that some wounds run too deep to heal in the familiar world.
Absolutely. It underscores the enduring impact of trauma.
Yeah.
And the idea that sometimes peace can only be found in letting go of the past and embracing a new beginning. And, you know, visually, the return of the king is just breathtaking.
Oh, yeah.
Those New Zealand landscapes are stunning.
Yeah.
And the filmmakers achieved such a masterful balance between CGI and practical effects to create this world that feels both fantastical and real. And let's not forget Howard Shore's score. It's a masterpiece in itself.
I know. The music during the charge of the Rohirrim,
Oh,
the
yeah.
destruction of the ring,
Yes.
those final scenes in the Grey Havens.
Chills.
It gives me chills just thinking about it.
Shore's score is more than just music.
Right.
It's an integral part of the storytelling. It amplifies the grandeur of the battles, the sorrow of loss, and the triumph of good over evil.
Yeah.
It adds this layers of emotional depth to every scene.
Okay, so now for a question that comes up a lot.
Okay.
The film exists in different versions,
Right.
including an extended edition with scenes that were cut from the theatrical release.
Right.
Why do you think that is?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
It highlights the challenges of adapting such a dense and complex story for the big screen.
Yeah.
You know, the extended edition, I think, offers a more complete experience, filling in narrative gaps and adding depth to characters and storylines.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, for example, Saruman's fate is completely omitted from the theatrical release,
Right.
leaving his arc somewhat unresolved.
Yeah.
But in the extended edition, we see what happens to him,
Right.
which adds a layer of complexity to his story.
Exactly. And to the themes of power and corruption.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder about the choices that filmmakers have to make when adapting a work as layered as The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
What to include, what to cut,
Right.
and how those decisions really impact the overall narrative.
For sure.
And then there's the whole Eagles debate. They swoop in at the last minute to save Frodo and Sam from Mount Doom, which to some viewers feels a bit like a convenient plot device. You already touched upon Deus Ex Machina
All right.
in relation to the Army of the Dead. So how do the Eagles fit into this conversation?
It's a valid criticism,
Yeah.
but like the Army of the Dead, the Eagles in Tolkien's mythology are these semi-divine creatures
Okay.
that only intervene in the most dire circumstances.
So their appearance isn't just some random plot device.
Right.
It's rooted in Tolkien's world building
Right.
and his exploration of fate and divine intervention.
Precisely. They represent a force beyond the control of men,
I see.
a kind of higher power that ultimately shapes the course of events.
It's fascinating how these seemingly simple plot points can lead to these deeper discussions about storytelling and mythology and even the nature of good and evil.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, it really makes you appreciate the depth of Tolkien's work and how The Return of the King brings it to life.
Absolutely. Even with the criticisms like about the Eagles and the different versions,
Yeah.
it's hard to deny that that The Return of the King is a cinematic triumph. It's visually spectacular, emotionally gripping, and it wraps up this epic story.
It does.
It does.
I completely agree. It's a film that stays with you long after you've seen it.
Yeah.
It's earned its place in film history.
Speaking of film history,
Yeah.
the awards speak for themselves, right?
Oh, yeah.
It swept the Oscars,
Right.
winning in every single category that it was nominated for.
11.
That's 11 awards.
11 awards.
Tying the record for the most Oscars won by a single film.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's a testament to the work of everyone involved.
Right.
The actors, the composers, the visual effects artists, the costume designers.
And those costumes.
Oh my gosh.
You're incredible.
Yeah.
Each race has its own distinct look.
Absolutely.
From the elegance of the elves to the ruggedness of the dwarves to the menacing armor of the orcs.
Yes, the costumes, they're phenomenal.
You know,
Yeah.
it's more than just clothing. It's world building. You can instantly tell who belongs to what faction.
Right?
And their clothing tells you about their culture and their place in Middle-earth.
Yeah. And the makeup.
Oh, yes.
Don't forget the incredible transformations,
Yeah.
especially with Gollum.
Oh, golly.
I mean, Andy Serkis's performance is already legendary.
Legendary.
But the makeup and the CGI work that went into creating Gollum, it was groundbreaking.
It was groundbreaking. It was a
Hmm.
game changer for motion capture technology.
Right.
I mean, you combine Serkis's performance with the visual effects.
Yeah.
They brought Gollum to life in a way that had never been seen before.
Right.
Blurring the lines between reality and fantasy.
Yeah.
Creating a character that's, both repulsive and sympathetic.
With so many incredible scenes to choose from.
Yeah.
What's your favorite moment in the entire film?
That's a tough one. There are so many.
I know, right?
But if I had to choose, I'd say the charge of the Rohirrim
Yeah.
at the Battle of Pelennor Fields.
Oh, man. The music, the visuals, the sheer scale of it all. It's cinema at its finest.
Goosebumps every time Théoden's speech before the charge.
Oh, I know.
So inspiring. Death. He cries, "Death! Ride to ruin and the world's ending."
It captures that raw emotion.
Yes.
And that desperate courage of these characters. They're facing these impossible odds, but they charge into battle anyway,
Yeah.
knowing it might be their last stand.
Mm-hmm.
It's a powerful reminder that that even in the face of overwhelming darkness, there's always hope.
Yeah.
There's always a reason to fight for what's right.
And that's one of the reasons why I think this film continues to resonate with audiences.
Right.
It's a story about good versus evil, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also a story about the strength of the human spirit.
It is.
It reminds us that even when things are really, really bad, that we can find the courage to overcome.
Absolutely. It's a message that transcends time and culture, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It speaks to something universal within all of us.
Yeah.
That desire for hope, that need for courage, that belief that we can overcome even the most daunting challenges.
So what does this all mean?
Yeah.
Why does this film, made over 20 years ago,
Right.
still hold such a grip on our imaginations?
That's a great question.
What is it about The Return of the King that makes it so timeless?
I think it's a combination of things,
Yeah.
It's a visually stunning film.
Right.
And it's got these groundbreaking special effects that honestly hold up well even today.
They do, yeah.
The story is epic in scope,
Right.
but it's also deeply personal with characters that you really connect with. And the themes of hope and courage and friendship, they're universal.
They are?
They're timeless. The Return of the King is a film that speaks to
something inside us.
to something deep within us, reminding us that we need to fight for what we believe in, even when the odds are stacked against us.
Right.
It's a reminder that even the smallest person can make a difference. And that even in the darkest of times, light will always find a way.
It's a film that transcends generations. I know people who grew up watching it.
Yeah.
And now their kids are discovering it.
Right.
And falling in love with Middle-earth all over again.
It's amazing. It's a testament to Tolkien's story and the brilliance of Peter Jackson's adaptation.
Yeah.
They created a world that feels both familiar and fantastical.
Yeah.
It's a world that you can lose yourself in.
Right.
And that offers you a sense of escape and wonder.
Speaking of escape, let's talk about the music for a second.
Okay.
Howard Shore's score is absolutely magical.
That's phenomenal.
It transports you right to the heart of Middle-earth.
Shore's score is more than just background music. It's part of the storytelling.
Yeah.
It heightens the emotion of every scene, from the quiet moments to the epic battles.
It's like every character has their own theme, like a musical motif.
Yes.
That underscores their personality and their journey.
Exactly. You can hear the nobility of Aragorn. Right.
The resilience of the hobbits.
Right.
And the menace of Sauron.
Oh, yeah.
The music adds another layer.
To the story.
Yes, to the characters and the story.
I could listen to that soundtrack for hours and hours.
Me too.
And it's not just those big, sweeping orchestral pieces.
Right.
There are these subtle, almost ethereal melodies.
Yes.
That weave their way through the entire film.
I know what you mean.
Creating this atmosphere of, like, wonder, but also melancholy.
It's like the music itself is telling a story.
Yeah.
It evokes the beauty and the tragedy.
As Middle-earth.
Yes, of Middle-earth, the ancient history.
Right.
And the weight of what's happening.
Yeah. And the use of vocals in the soundtrack adds this whole other layer of emotion. It's, the chanting, the choral pieces.
The songs
sung by the different characters.
They all contribute to this immersive experience.
Yeah, it's like you're hearing the voices of Middle-earth.
Yes.
The whispers of the past, the hopes for the future.
I've always been so fascinated by how music can have such a profound impact on how we feel.
Oh, yeah.
A single chord, a haunting melody.
It can transport you.
Can transport us to another time and place.
Another world.
Evoke memories, even change the way we see the world around us.
Absolutely. Music has this power to tap into our subconscious.
Yeah.
To stir our souls.
Yeah.
And connect us to something larger than ourselves.
And Howard Shore's score does that in The Return of the King.
It does.
I mean, it just elevates the whole film to a whole other level.
It does. It makes it unforgettable.
Yeah. It's just a perfect example of how music can make a good film.
Truly great.
Truly great. It adds those layers of meaning and emotion.
Yeah.
That words just, they can't.
They can't achieve on their own.
They can't achieve.
Yeah, it's really a collaborative art form.
Right.
It takes so many talented people, writers, directors, actors, composers, editors, all working together to create something special.
And in the case of The Return of the King, it resulted in a masterpiece, right?
It did.
Something that continues to inspire people.
Yeah.
So for someone who wants to kind of explore this film even further, what would you recommend?
Well,
are there any books, documentaries, even fan theories out there that are worth checking out?
Oh, there's tons of stuff out there. If you want to really go deeper, for starters, I'd recommend reading Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings novels.
Okay.
I mean, the films are fantastic adaptations.
They are.
But the books offer, this level of depth and detail that you can't get on screen.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to the lore and history of Middle-earth.
Yeah, the books are a must-read for any Tolkien fan.
Definitely.
They're dense, but
they are
so rich and rewarding.
Yes.
I remember just getting lost in those pages.
Oh, yeah.
For hours.
Absolutely.
Just completely immersed in Tolkien's world.
And for people who are interested in filmmaking, there are some great behind-the-scenes documentaries about the making of these films.
Oh, yeah.
You get to see all the work that went into the costumes, the makeup.
Right, the special effects.
The special effects, the sets.
It's incredible.
Oh, it's inspiring, really.
It is.
You see the passion and dedication that these people had.
For Tolkien's vision.
Yes, to bring that to life.
And then, of course, you've got the fan theories.
Oh, yeah.
And the online discussions.
Right.
Tolkien's work is so rich and layered, right?
It is.
It invites these multiple interpretations.
Mm-hmm.
And the fans have come up with some really interesting theories over the years.
Oh, they're wild. Some are insightful. Some are just fun to think about.
I know. It's amazing how Tolkien's work continues to spark this debate and analysis after all these years.
It speaks to how much this world resonates with people.
Yeah.
It's something you can keep exploring, keep discovering.
Even years later.
Yeah.
So The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, really does offer something for everyone.
I think so.
It's a visual spectacle.
It is.
An emotional roller coaster, a thought-provoking exploration of human nature.
It's a timeless story about hope and sacrifice.
And the strength of the human spirit.
Absolutely.
So if you haven't seen The Return of the King lately, or maybe you've never seen it,
give it a watch.
I really encourage you to revisit this film.
You might be surprised.
You might be surprised at how much it resonates with you today.
It's a story that reminds us that even in the darkest times, there's always hope. And that even the smallest person can make a difference.
And as always, keep diving deeper.
Keep exploring.
Keep those brains engaged.
Yes.
Until next time, happy watching.